Good afternoon. Welcome to the Midday Mull for Monday, the 31st of August. Continuing to reflect on Ruth. In the last mull we saw Ruth had gone to Boaz and said, "Would you be our kinsman redeemer?" And he had essentially said, "Yes, I will." And it looked like, oh, well, there we are, everything sorted out. However, the story continues. Verse 12 of chapter 3, Boaz speaking says, "Although it is true that I am a guardian redeemer of your family, there is another who is more closely related than I. Stay here for the night, and in the morning, if he wants to do his duty as your guardian redeemer, good, let him redeem you. But if he is not willing, as surely as the Lord lives, I will do it. Lie here until the morning." And suddenly the story takes a twist. It sounded like everything was sorted out. We'd been introduced to Boaz, and he'd agreed to be the guardian redeemer. Essentially, he'd marry Ruth, and they'd all live happily ever after. But suddenly, it's not plain sailing. It's not as simple as that. There's this other person. We've no idea who he was or what he was like. And one can just imagine Ruth, just as her hopes are getting up, suddenly it grinds to a halt. And yes, if this other person would redeem them, their destitution would be dealt with. But their happiness wasn't guaranteed. You have no idea who he was and what he was like or anything like that. We know that the story works out well, but Ruth didn't. And I was thinking, so often in life we have these setbacks where things are going smoothly, things are coming right, and suddenly there's a spanner in the works and everything grinds to a halt, or we take a different track. And that's the way life is. We see this in the story here. Suddenly, yes, everything, but hold on, there's this new kinsman redeemer. And we mustn't lose hope, we mustn't lose faith when things like that happen. We're not promised plain sailing ever. And when God is working in us and answering prayers, it doesn't mean that what we see today will just continue in a straight line. There may well be twists and turns along the way, but God is still there in those twists and turns. God will still be there despite the delay. It's not that He's lost control of them. And so as you go through life, particularly as you're praying for people and you see a prayer being answered and then suddenly it stops, a person we're praying for healing and they're so much better, next thing you know, they're back in hospital. You think, what's going on? It happened with Ruth and Boaz. It will happen with us as well. So do not be discouraged when life has these twists. Know that it happens and God is still in control. God will still work his purposes out. God will still undertake for you. And so hold on to that. Trust in him and be blessed.